All right, so we'll just start now. My name is Justin Johnson. I am from Emporia State University. I'm a cybersecurity analyst, and these are my peeps right here in the front row. So this presentation is on vendor/third-party risk assessments. So first off, what are vendor risk assessments? A vendor risk assessment is an evaluation tool that you can use to assess third-party vendors for certain risk, like compliance risk. If they have any data breaches, you can do those. Risk assessments are great tools to help safeguard your information and make sure that the vendors are doing their job as well. So what assessment tool should I use? The tool in question is called a HECVAT, short for a Higher Education Community Vendor Assessment. You can go here to the EduCause website, and you can download it there. There's two versions to it. There's a full and a light. And yeah, there you go. So HECVAT Full and HECVAT Lite. They're both great tools to use when assessing either hardware or software applications or programs. Your full is going to be more detailed. It's going to have questions that pertain to HIPAA or PCI things. If they're compliant, it's going to ask them that. If there's FERPA information, it's going to ask them that as well. And your light is just like surface level information. It's going to have things like, how your data is being stored, if it's encrypted or if it's, the different encryption methods. You'll do that. I will add a caveat though. The HECVAT Full doesn't really have much on FERPA. It asks like one question and that's it. But not everything's perfect. Sad face. So, yeah. Sections of a HECVAT, they both share certain sections until it starts to get to your HIPAA information and your PCI information. That's where the HECVAT Full, it goes off and becomes more detailed. But some of the sections, they both have the same sections. So they have a standards crosswalk. This section will tell you what part of the ISO standards they follow and where you can look those up at. Your analyst reports, it takes all the information from your evaluation tab, which is where your vendor will answer questions, and it will summarize those and give you a score. Your analyst reference, here you can take their questions and answers and compare it to some of the questions and answers you have. And if they didn't answer them how you feel, you can circle back and reach out to the vendor and be like, hey, you were very vague on this. Can you explain more? And they should. Your summary report, it's just like your analyst report, but it puts everything to a little nice graph. The higher ups like graphs and stuff, so they like that. Comparisons, your HECVAT Full. This is like, I'm not an ice cream person, but I feel like if I had to order some crazy ice cream, this is what I would order. Something crazy like that. And your HECVAT Lite is vanilla. Boo. So how should I use this tool? The tool, like I said, it's great to make sure that vendors are doing their due diligence with the information that they have on their end and your information that they're going to be processing and storing. You want to make sure all that stuff's up to code. So most vendors will provide a HEC vet. Some I've ran into that will require you to sign an NDA, and that can slow the process down, which is not our fault. And also, a best practice is to try to request a new risk assessment about 2 to 3 years, just to make sure that, they are, how can I say this? They're updating themselves with the times and the new technologies and making sure your stuff is safe as well. So how does ESU handle vendor risk assessments? Well, first of all, we like to start the process as soon as possible. So whenever somebody, hey, can I have this software? We're like, hold up, wait a minute, we got to assess this. So we do our assessment process. We send it a HEC VAT or a HEC VAT full or light to the vendor to make sure that everything's good to go. We like to get all the parties involved so the process goes smoothly, but we're all in IT and we know how that goes. So, as soon as we get the HEC VAT back, we make sure it meets our requirements and our standards. And if it's a horrible HEC VAT, we usually kick it back and tell them no. You're not going to use this. And if it passes, we send it on to approval, and everybody's happy. If it's something that deals with our students, we like to bring in our accessibility department to make sure that it's up to code, with their standards as well, so we don't get in trouble. So a few things to look for in these HEC VATs. These are just a couple things that I like to make sure that are answered, but there's a long list of stuff, and I'd be going on forever. So some things, a big one, cyber insurance. If they have cyber insurance, most likely, it's good to go. If they had a breach in the last 5 years, that's something good to know as well. Let's see, if passwords are encrypted, that's something good. If the vendor makes any changes that may affect your systems, like if they update and there be system downtime, will they let you know ahead of time, or they're just going to do it and you just figure it out, and run around with your head cut off? If they are HIPAA, FERPA, or PCI compliant, will they provide support and documentation? A lot of them will say, yeah, we are, but I got to see that. And like I said, the list goes on. There's a whole bunch of questions on there as well. So this slide, don't be like the others. So if you see here, starting off with Target, they were hacked in 2013 due to a lapse in their third-party HEC vet. They didn't. How can I say this? They didn't do the right measures within that. They just brushed some things off to the side, and that's what happened. J.P. Morgan, they were compromised as well because of a third-party vendor. They Equifax, they were compromised as well. The others continued. Home Depot, I don't know if anybody knew about that, but Home Depot, stole from them as well. Uber, they were compromised as well. And wrapping things up. Vendor risk assessments are essential. They help keep your information safe and make sure vendors are doing their due diligence, like I said earlier. This is a very important step. Should not be skipped at all. Shouldn't. If a vendor can't provide you with a HECVAT, try to request like a SOC 2 or ask if they have a cyber insurance, or you can just get on the call. I've done that too, and ask the multiple questions that they don't know the answers to and have to get back to you. Yeah. Questions, comments, or concerns? Yes, you.
So how often do you run into vendors that refuse to fill out a HECVAT or want to charge you extra, and you have to find alternatives?
Charges, we never had that happen, or I've never had that happen. But there are some vendors that are reluctant to give us a HECVAT. So that process, we usually just try to find a different software if we can, or the requester, we try to push them somewhere else and help them find something else in that situation. I did have a question in the app, so I'm going to answer that. So let's see. So the question was, do you have a purchasing office that supports a standard approach, or is it up to each unit to assess the vendor? That was from, let me see, that was from Nick Austin. So to answer this question, if it's a software or hardware that's requested by a different department, we will do the risk assessment on it and everything, and then we usually send it off to our finance guy, who's also in our department, and he usually coordinates with those departments, get the bills sent out to them, make sure they're paying and everything, and all that stuff. Anything else? Oh, we got a guy over here. I love questions.
I guess in terms of the that question, have you handled like the manpower requirement to kind of do all that due diligence, sending out the HECVATs and stuff like that? Do you have a person in the department kind of does that, and like, or how much time does it take them to do that, weekly, monthly, whatever?
So, me and my coworker here, right here, we handle the risk assessments. We try to shoot for 2 weeks. So once we get the request, from there we try to go for 2 weeks, get everything approved. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it doesn't. It just all depends, really. Answer your question.
It was more about like how much time it takes you guys to do that. And did you add additional people to handle that vendor management?
Like I said, it takes us about 2 weeks to handle the whole process. Correct. It takes us about like 2 weeks, like I said, it's just us who do it. Once we get the approval, we send it up to our boss, and she gives the stamp, and then it goes off to our CIO, and then he gives a stamp, and we say, hey, you can go get this, you can go purchase it, and whenever the department wants to purchase it, that's on them. So we're just want to make sure that we give the okay for the software first.
So continuing on this, you mentioned earlier that sometimes you'd bring in additional stakeholders to review that along with you, and you said an example was that in case there was a student accessibility issue and you wanted to evaluate that, was there any other stakeholders that you've invited into the process to get some additional feedback?
So really, it's just the security department and the accessibility department, really. If it is like a crazy software, I know we are doing something for our counseling service. We try to bring them in and let them go sit through the process and ask them questions and ask the vendor questions as well. But it's really just us as a team that handles everything.
And have you encountered situations where you have a request, but it's for a product that you already have a solution for in your existing IT stack? And have you handled those situations?
We tell them we already got it and to use that.
So my question is, how often are you finding that vendors are sort of not up to snuff, not passing your requirements? And when someone is not able to meet those requirements, is that like a conversation you can have with them? We need you to improve in X, Y, Z, or is it sort of a hard like we can't do business with you because this is not going to happen?
Good question. So that's probably happened, I would say about twice, that somebody wasn't up to standards with us. And usually that's just a hard no. And we try to work with them to find something else.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions, comments, or concerns? Going once, going twice, sold. Thank you.